Guys, Kevin for Arrow, Season 4, Episode 20, Genesis, and I know this episode is a week old. I meant to review it last week. Again, I just didn't get the chance to, but I was definitely looking forward to this episode. I think Arrow's been really good lately. I know a lot of people haven't been loving this season. I've really been loving this season, as you guys know, and we're nearing the end of the season. I can already tell that things are going to get really crazy. I hear that we're in for a really sad, bloody finale, but I think this episode really does show how crazy things are about to get. Let's just get into this episode. There's a lot to talk about. And one of the things I love this episode is that it primarily focused on Diggle. While it did have Oliver and Felicity, Diggle was the main focus in this episode, which did make sense because of where we left off in the last episode. But because of that, I think it really is stretching out the feud between Dark and Oliver, because that's obviously the big part of this season, and we're going to see that play out eventually. But for right now, we need to see more with Diggle, and I really do love seeing that. Let's get into this episode, though. First of all, something else to talk about. There were no flashbacks in this episode. Thank you. I don't need flashbacks, honestly. I've never really enjoyed the flashbacks. I've never really needed the flashbacks. And, for me, they just haven't really done much of anything. But let's just get into this episode. We see two members of the Hive Council, Phaetra Nixon and Milo Archimage. They meet with Dark, who is now out of prison. And while they wait, they discuss what to do with Dark now that he's escaped. Milo insists that he's created a contingency just as Dark arrives with Malcolm and Murmur. Dark and Murmur, and Dark points out that Malcolm has told him what the council did to him, and he says he has a lot of time to reconsider things. He asks if his imprisonment delayed Genesis, and Milo assures him that it didn't, and we find out what Genesis is. Satisfied, Dark asks why he needs them. Milo fires at him. Dark magically catches the bullet and sends it back into Milo's head, and he kills Phaedra and tells the members watching on the camera that it's time to begin Genesis. Just a really badass scene. Neil McDonough, he's been killing it all season, but again, it reiterates how awesome he is, how badass of a villain Dark really is, and that was an awesome scene. I love that. So later, Felicity informs the team that the SCPD found the two dead council members, and they figured that Dark is cleaning house, and he's basically just trying to get rid of everyone so he can do this on his own, and anyone that doesn't agree with him, he's just gonna kill, and Oliver refuses to engage him until they find a way to counteract his magic, because they can see that he really seems to be unstoppable. Now, what Oliver plans, I think, is actually very smart, and basically Constantine has put him onto someone who can teach him how to defend against Dark's magic, and the only complaint we'll have in this episode is that we did not get a Constantine cameo. I really thought we'd see Constantine in this episode. We did not see him. Unfortunately, we just didn't get a chance to see Constantine in this episode, but he said it's dangerous, so he'll learn it on his own, and we'll be going to Hub City for a day or two. Thea asks if she can take the weekend with Alex, and Oliver suggests that everyone take some time off, because it's the best thing to do. They need to take a break for a while because of everything they've dealt with. Later, Diggle meets with Lila at an Argus secure semi, and he explains what Oliver's doing, says that Oliver thinks that it's too dangerous for any of them to go after Dark or Andy, and right now they just need to kind of remain low. They need to, basically they can see how powerful these two are, they can see what they've done and really what they are capable of, so they really just need to lay low at this point. Lila realized that her husband isn't thrilled to be sitting on his hands, and Diggle reminds her that Andy has been close to all them, and as he checks on Sarah, Lila admits that Oliver's right, and asks Diggle to get some diapers while he's out, and that Diggle obviously is going to go after Andy. He practically stated in the last episode that he feels guilty for Laurel's death, and he feels like he is the reason why Laurel died, so it makes sense that Diggle obviously wants to go after Andy, because he really feels that him not trusting Andy is the main reason why Laurel was killed. And at the bunker, Oliver's preparing to leave when Felicity asks for more details about his tutors, and he says that the magic Dark is using has taken good people and turned them dark, and worries that he's already there. Now, something I like about Felicity and Oliver in this episode is that they remain strictly friends. They didn't act like, they were together. They didn't act like they were trying to redefine their relationship. They just acted like friends, and I like that. Like I've said, Oliver and Felicity do work very well as friends. And I do think they had a good relationship, but I think right now, their dynamic, we know they're not back together, obviously. I think they're going to get back together eventually, just not right now. So Dark has taken good people and turned them dark, and he worries that he's already there, that he really is the next one in line. Felicity doesn't believe it. Oliver says that he'll do anything to avenge Laurel and stop Dark, and when she says that she's coming with him, Oliver realizes that it's pointless to argue and give sin. He's not really going to argue with Felicity about this. There's no reason to do that. He's just going to go along with it. So Diggle's leaving the store when Andy calls him, and following the signal, Diggle breaks into a building. He finds a homeless man. He points to where Andy is. Diggle orders him out. Moving on, Diggle finds a bucket with burning papers, and Andy shoots him down the hallway. Diggle takes cover before shooting back. His brother runs. Diggle fires him but misses, and as he chases Andy down, Lila calls that to say that satellite track has picked up Andy. Diggle explains what is going on and calls her back up at the Gramercy power plant where Andy has gone aground, and Lila says that her men won't be there for at least 5 minutes, and Diggle says that he can wait. His wife warns him that his judgment is compromised by Diggle, and he goes after Andy, and you can really tell that obviously Lila really doesn't want him to go after Andy. She knows how powerful Andy is. She knows what Andy can do. She really just thinks it's best if, like Oliver said, they lay low, which Diggle clearly does not want to do. And I gotta say, I mean, once again, I just have to reiterate that David Ramsey killed in this episode. I mean, I've said it before, he's awesome. Really, in this episode, you just saw the inner rage within him and the inner determination. He didn't care what Lila said. He's gonna go after Andy. Well, Lila says, yes, obviously he loves his wife and everything, but it's pretty much useless to him. There's nothing she can say or do to get him to not go after his brother. He just needs to do that. He has a personal vendetta against him. He feels like it is his duty to take him out, and he's going to do that by any means necessary. So Oliver and Felicity go to an underground casino. They sit down at a blackjack table where Constantine referred to them to wait until the teacher Fortuna arrived, and Thea wakes up, discovers that Alex isn't in bed with her. She looks for him and finds him cooking in the kitchen, and Thea admits that she's tired, and Alex says they both need the break before they kiss, and Alex comes across as very shady in this episode. I mean, just the second you see him, you're like, something is up here. Something is definitely not right with Alex. There's definitely something going on there, and I actually like what they did with Alex in this episode because they made him relevant. Ever since Oliver's campaign ended, Alex hasn't really been relevant. He's barely been a character. He's just, first of all, of course, he was Oliver's campaign manager, and then he turned into Thea's love interest, and I've never seen the chemistry between these two ever. That's the one thing this season that has not worked for me, is the relation between Thea and Alex. I just haven't seen it. I don't think that these two are that great together. I don't really see it. And it seems like ever since Thea broke up with Roy, the show hasn't been able to get her a better boyfriend, better love interest than Roy, which I do think that's because Roy is coming back next season. We've gotten word that Roy is in fact returning to Arrow next season, but Felicity plays and wins. The other player, Ezrin, considers going home before she loses everything, and after Felicity loans her some chips, Ezrin explains that she's Oliver's tutor, and Constantine still owes her money. So later, Andy throws water in Diggle's face to wake him up. Diggle is chained to the ceiling. Andy says that Dark is on his way, and Dark says that wants Andy to prep Diggle. Diggle insists that Dark is a liar and a monster, but Andy doesn't believe him. And I like that Diggle isn't trying to kill Andy here. He's trying to basically get him to get back on his side and say, look, you really don't want to ally with this man. He's not going to be in your best interest. He's going to turn against you, and you can't trust him whatsoever. But of course, Dark has brainwashed him. Andy is now on his side. He's brainwashed him. Andy is no longer someone that Diggle can trust, and when Diggle wonders how he could betray them again, Andy says that he left his family long ago. Diggle reminds him that Carly and Andy Jr. were his family, and I guess that was their family, and Andy insists that Hive is his family before ramming an ice pick into Diggle's side. Terrifying stuff, honestly. This really felt like something out of a thriller. It was really crazy. And the lengths they went with the torture in this episode, I mean, this really was, I wouldn't say it was torture porn because it was necessary to see, but they really went far in terms of how to torture Diggle. Really, it was crazy to watch, and it was really sad to see Andy torturing his brother like this, especially because Diggle really just trying to get his brother to listen to him and really get on his side, which he's not. So Ezrin explains that she's an immortal shaman and leads Oliver and Felicity to a back room. Beyond is a large candlelit chamber, and Ezrin explains that they've moved to another plane of existence. It's a nexus just like Lian Yu and Star City, and Ezrin says that she knows of Dark. She has never tried to kill him because immortals stay out of the affairs of men, and I think it's very interesting we found this out. The chamber contains an idol similar to the one that Dark has, and Ezra explains that it channels the power of death into Dark, and it's really the only way to kill him. And all things have their opposite. Ezra explains that Oliver has to call on light and hope to oppose Dark. However, she warns that if the darkness inside Oliver outweighs the light, then his darkness will fuel Dark and make him more powerful. So we can't let the darkness inside of him, consume him, because that's going to just make Dark more powerful. He needs to get that light inside of him, which is going to be very hard to do, obviously. And it's going to be very interesting to see where we're actually headed with this, because this is going to be very interesting if Oliver's going to be able to pull this off. I mean, it's a really complicated situation where Basically, Oliver needs to see the lightness within him and not focus on the dark, and if he has that darkness with him, it's going to consume dark, and it's not going to end well for anyone. So Thea and Alex go for a walk. Thea discovers that she can't get a signal when she tries to call Oliver, and she points out that the neighborhood they're in just seems too perfect. I mean, the birds are chirping constantly, it's a sunny day, suspects that everything she's hearing seems to be on a loop. Nothing really is changing. Alex tells her let it go and be happy, and like I said, throughout this entire episode, you can just tell something is up here. Something really weird is going on with Thea. You don't know what it is, but definitely something weird is going on with her and Alex. So Andy has his men unfasten Diggle. Diggle takes them out. He shoves one of them at Andy, disarms his brother, handcuffs him to a pillar, and Andy tells Diggle to shoot him for Laurel. And I like that Andy's saying, just kill me. And I know that you want to get my revenge on Laurel, but Diggle lowers the gun. He doesn't want to kill Andy right now. That's not what he wants to do. Killing Andy is not what he's trying to do here. He just wants to get Andy on his side. Obviously, he wants to kill Dark, but he doesn't really want to kill Andy. And disgusted, Andy says that Laurel did disappoint in Diggle, and Diggle says that Andy is only breathing because one of them is still human. And yeah, that's very much true. I mean, the only reason that Andy got out of prison because Diggle was convinced that Andy was on their side. He was a very good actor, he played a very good game, and he made him think that he was on their side. And I like the Diggle saying, look, you would not be here if it wasn't for me. If you were not, if I hadn't freed you from prison, you would have stayed there. And we know that Diggle, it took a while for him to get on Andy's side, and now he knows why, obviously, because Andy was never to be trusted. I thought there was some really great stuff here, and I think they both gave amazing performances. So Ezra prepares to hit Oliver with a lower dose of dark magic. The tattoo that Constantine gave Oliver will let him channel light magic, and Ezra invites Felicity to stand to the side, release the dark magic, and Oliver manages to dissipate it. Ezra fires a more powerful blast. Oliver imagines fighting Dark and Deathstroke, and he hears, and I like that he's imagining fighting both of them, because those are the two biggest threats he's ever had. Notice that he didn't notice Roz or Malcolm. I think it's because Roz and Malcolm, while they were powerful, they're not really giving him the struggle that Deathstroke and Dark gave him. Deathstroke, obviously, because it was Slade, and he just didn't want to fight Slade, as we know, and then Dark because of the fact that Dark just seems impossible to take out, and he hears Ezra tell him not to give up, not to give in, and concentrating, Oliver remembers everything that he's fighting for, but also everything that he's lost. And it's a really great scene where you really do see Oliver's trying to keep all the positives and not let those villains get the best of him. Ezra says that Oliver isn't ready and never will be, and asks what she can teach him that will change what he saw. Oliver can't answer, and Ezra walks away. So it really seems like Ezra is no use to them, that it's not really going to work the way Oliver wants it to. You can tell that Oliver doesn't want to give up. He just can't really give her a conclusive answer right now, which I did like seeing. And what I also love is that those scenes with Oliver, I think, really did take the place of what the flashbacks would have been in this episode, which, like I said, we really didn't need, and I'm glad we didn't get them. So back at Alex's house, Thea points out that it's 8 in the evening, but it isn't getting dark, and this is a great scene. Alex isn't concerned. Thea returns to chirps and barks repeating themselves because over and over again, there's birds chirping, dogs barking, birds chirping, dogs barking, and Thea predicts when the dog barks next. Alex takes out a bottle of Hive's pills to take one. He says that Ruve gave him the vitamins to stay healthy. I've been pronouncing her name wrong. It's not Ruve, it's Ruve. He says she gave him the vitamins to stay healthy, and Thea wonders if Alex drugged her, and she storms as Alex calls to her, and she really is not trusting Alex, which I like that Thea stayed smart here. She wasn't dumb. Like, she knew straight out there's something wasn't right, and she didn't know what it was, but she just knew that something is not, right here. Obviously, everything seems to be the same. Nothing really is changing, so we really could not tell what was going on here, and I really like that. So Diggle returns to Lila, says that he couldn't stand down after what Andy did. Sarah starts crying. Lila tells Diggle that he's not seeing clearly, and Diggle says that Andy's his brother, and Laurel was like a sister to him, and in many ways, yeah, I mean, Diggle, Laurel, and Oliver were really like a family, and Lila tells him that he's not acting like the man she divorced, and that's really why I think Team Arrow right now is kind of fractured, because it really feels like a broken family. They've lost one of their own, one of the most important allies in Oliver's life ever. I mean, we know the pact that Laurel and Oliver had, and now that that's broken, so is Diggle's pack with her. They had a really close bond, and Lila tells him he's acting like the man she divorced, and Diggle insists that he wants to bring Andy back. She tells him to bring Andy Justin, but to do it the right way, don't just kill him, actually do it by not killing him, and Diggle agrees that he's not going to kill him, and I think Diggle is very sincere with this. He doesn't want to kill Andy. We've already seen that he doesn't want to kill Andy. He just wants to get Andy on his side. He just wants Andy to see his way. Andy, however, is making it really difficult, and I like that we saw it that way. Diggle is not a cold-blooded killer. Diggle, however, is just a very determined man that wants to bring Andy to justice in any way that he can. So back in the casino, Oliver tells Felicity Ezra was right about him. He points out that Ezra didn't approach them until Felicity offered the chips, and says that Felicity is the one who brings the light. Ezra showed him who he really is. Oliver figures that he'll always revert to the person he was on Leanne Yu, which is true. That's how he'll always be. Felicity tells him that none of them are perfect, but anyone can change, and that's really been the theme of the season, is can Oliver really change himself and get out of that darkness? We know for a while he did, but now this event, you really aren't sure if he's going to be able to get back to that. And Dark then finds Andy and assures him that his performance was perfect, and as he frees himself, Andy confirms that the tracker is in place and they blocked him onto its location. The semi's on the road. Lila tends to Diggle's wounds. Diggle wonders why Andy didn't just kill him, because that would have been the smart thing to do for Andy to just kill him, because he had the chance. And the proximity alarm goes off. Ghosts pull up in a Hummer and fire a missile, hitting the trailer. It keeps going. Lila calls for Michaels, and the ghosts open fire on the trailer. Motorcycles move in. Lila releases a shot, killing one of the ghosts away. Diggle figures that Andy tagged him with the tracker, and Lila realized that Hive is attacking Argus headquarters, and her husband's unable to contact his team, warns that they're on their own, and I like that she said, look, I'm not Amanda Waller, I can't just do this on my own, I need you, and Dark then steps out on the road ahead. The semi stops it with his magic. Diggle prepares to draw Dark out, but Lila points out that Dark wanted Diggle to lead him to her, and when he refuses to leave her, Lila warns that she'll give them whatever they want to keep Diggle and Sarah safe, and Diggle drives off on a motorcycle. Dark tells Andy to get him in, and as Andy goes after him, Lila tosses a grenade out, then opens on the ghost, which Lila was a badass. I mean, I did not think Lila was capable of doing all this stuff, but she really was awesome here. Dark immobilizes her with his magic, but discovers that Diggle has escaped with Sarah, and I like that Diggle thwarted their plan. I like that they didn't just get Diggle. It really just showed that Diggle is stronger than them, and Diggle, I think, is going to be the one to maybe help them out. And Andy in a Hive vehicle cut off Diggle and corner him. Felicity drives up in a van, rams the ghost, and she tells Diggle that Oliver's with Lila. Diggle goes after Andy. Now, how they got there, I don't know, but apparently they got back. So at the Argus semi, Dark grabs Lila's wrist, starts burning through her arm with magic, and Green Arrow shoots him in the back with a line arrow, but Dark blasts him away, pulls out the arrow. When he promises to kill all of Oliver's friends, Green Arrow says never again, that he's never going to kill any of them, and he's going to make sure that Laura was the only casualty, which I don't think is going to be true. I do think there's going to be more, because I've heard that there are going to be more major deaths, and I don't think Laurel's going to be the only one. Interestingly enough, we did not see Lance in this episode, which I thought was interesting we didn't see him, because we had such a big stuff with him in the last episode. Maybe that's why, I don't really know, but I just think that because of how big this episode was, there really wasn't a lot of room. So Diggle runs Andy to ground, prepares to shoot him. When he hesitates, Andy asks what he's going to do. Diggle picks him up. Dark grabs Green Arrow and starts draining his life force, and however, Green Arrow's eyes glow with energy. Dark is blasted back. By the time Green Arrow recovers, Dark is gone, and I thought that was a good scene. I definitely did like that. I like these little battles here and there. We're not getting to that big battle yet, and it really just show, how complicated Dark really is and how undefeatable he seems to be. So Diggle aims a gun at Andy's head. Andy says he's got it before, and he's gonna get out again. He threatens Sarah, points out that Diggle can't watch Lila 24/7, which he can't. Andy says that it's war, and Genesis is coming, and millions of mothers and children will die. He says that Diggle doesn't have the guts to do what's necessary to protect his wife and child, and from what it seems like, they basically just want to wipe out the entire city and just start over. And Diggle shoots him, and he stares at him for a moment, and then collapses dead. And Diggle finally does what he didn't want to do. Andy just, he's now threatened his wife and child. He's threatened himself. He just can't do it. He kills Andy, and I think it just made sense. I think while Diggle didn't want to kill Andy, he did it because there really wasn't any other way. Andy was being very difficult. Andy wasn't making it easy, and I like that Diggle didn't set out to kill him. He just wanted to talk to him, but Andy didn't want to do that. Andy was brainwashed. He was too violent, and if Andy's going to be violent, Diggle's going to be violent. He killed him. Obviously, Lila told him not to do that, but the best thing to do was to kill Andy, and I don't really think there really was another option. It was either that or he died, and obviously Lila wouldn't want either of those things. So Green Arrow finds Diggle with Andy's corpse, tells his friend that Lila's fine. Now it is very sad, obviously, that Diggle had to kill Andy, but it does make sense. I feel like we've always been headed in this direction. I didn't see Andy coming out of this season, I really didn't. I didn't actually know if the show would kill him off, because I just don't know if the show really was like that. But after Laurel's death, I feel like the show's a lot more ballsier, and I like they actually had the guts to kill off Andy, because it really took a lot of Diggle, you could tell, to kill Andy. He didn't want to kill his brother. He really just wanted to help him. But again, Andy was just being too difficult. There was really no other way for Diggle to get through to him except to kill him. That was the only way to do it. and he tells his friend that Lila's fine, but Dark escaped. He asks what happened, and Diggle says that Andy was never going to back off, and there really was no other way to do it. He just had to kill him because he knew that Andy would just continue going after his family, and he wasn't going to let that happen. He would make sure that Lila and Sarah are safe. That's who he cares about the most. And later at the bunker, Felicity tells Oliver that she hasn't been able to reach Thea yet. Oliver says that he was able to repel Dark's magic. When he did, he heard Felicity in his head, reminding him of all the good things in his life. He heard all of his friends, including Laurel, telling him to keep fighting and have hope, and it seems like this is going to work. Like, he's going to use that lightness inside of him, not let that darkness consume him, which I really think is going to be interesting to see how that works. Lila wakes up in a safe house. Diggle tells her that Sarah's fine, and he explains that he put Andy down. Lila says that he wasn't a brother in the ways that really matter, and suddenly Lila realizes that Dark took the implant in her arm, and that it was Dark that did this to her, and at the bunker, Lila explains that she had Rubicon implants in her arm for security reasons. She tells him that Rubicon is a ballistic launch override protocol that prevents any country from firing nuclear missiles, and Thea runs down the street. That's exactly what they need, obviously, because we know what Dark is planning on doing, and Lila tells the others that with the right expertise, Rubicon could be used to launch missiles, and Felicity wonders what Dark wants after destroying the world. Diggle repeats what Andy said about Genesis coming, and they're terrified, obviously. They have no idea what to do. They don't know really what Genesis is going to do, how it's going to wipe out everyone, and we get to the very last scene here, where we finally find out what's going on with Thea. Ghost closing on Thea, she runs to a field, she hits something, bounces back, realizes that the entire town exterior is a hologram disguising the inside of a vast underground dome, and Thea is basically, essentially trapped in a force field, and I don't really know if she's going to get out of it, and that's where the episode ends. So, really good stuff in this episode. I really enjoyed a lot of this episode. I thought it really did make sense that Diggle had to kill Andy. I don't really think there was another option. Like I said, Andy wasn't making things any easier. You know, he pretty much had to kill him. Just the way this was going, I don't really see another outcome except Diggle killing him. That seemed like the only way to get through to Andy, because it didn't seem like there was another way to get through to Andy. Andy was gonna die regardless of what Diggle tried to do. You know, he was gonna die, and I thought that was a very good scene, the way we saw that. Where do we go from here, though? I'm very interested in seeing what happens with that. Is Oliver going to be able to use this darkness with him? And is he going to be able to, you know, basically not let that darkness consume him? Is he going to look into the light, obviously, like, well, now I can't think of her name, like Ezrin said he should do? Is that really going to work? We'll have to see what happens with that. Is there really a way to take down Dark? I don't know at this point. It seems like there might not be a way to take down Dark. We'll have to see what happens with that. That's going to be very interesting. How's Thea getting out of this force field? I don't really know. Genesis is coming, and I don't really know how that's all going to work out. I know the next episode involves Felicity's father. I'm going to try to watch the next episode and then review for you guys. Definitely, I definitely am going to review the next episode. I can't wait to watch the next episode. But overall, guys, I love this episode. This was a very good, cathartic episute, honestly, because I didn't want Diggle to have to kill Andy, but it made sense why Diggle had to kill Andy. He really had no other way to do it. He had to put him down, and I thought it was good that Lila understood that he really just had to kill him, and even though Lila didn't want him to do it, Andy just wouldn't budge. You know, he wouldn't stop, and the only way to do it was to kill him. And overall, guys, I'm you guys saw this episode. Love to hear your thoughts on it. I absolutely love this episode. One of my favorites of the season because there wasn't any flashbacks, and we focused very much on Diggle, and there wasn't any bullshit in this episode either. Like, it was strictly just getting to the end of things, and I really do love it. You can really tell the scene's coming to a close. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. Love to hear your thoughts on it. We'll see you guys in my next show, which will be for tonight's episode of Arrow, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.